I'm now writing like a kindergarten guy, eh?
Yes.
But they are clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope you are drawing it your side. This where the arrow is pointing. So this time we are using the operations of math to define our relation.
Yes.
So we have those two sets, eh?
Yes.
The arrow diagram. What relation do you think is being communicated in that arrow diagram? So I want to give you time to think through. Then whoever has an idea, please share with us. Thank you.
Teacher, you have not named the set.
Yes.
Pardon? I've not named it as set. Eh?
Yes.
Let me name this as set A. By the way, conventionally we are supposed to use capital letters. So you will pardon me on where I used small letters. Let me call them set A and B. I have two hands. Let me look
Teacher,
for those two hands. Yes.
teacher, is it okay to call the first set the domain and the second one the range?
Now for you are taking us ahead. Oh, you have taken us ahead. But we shall reach there. Yes, Perth?
Okay.
Perth?
They added 4.
They added 4. Nyakamatura, is it the same submission? I think Nyakamatura had the same submission. So we realized that the relation, there is Nakibara.
Yes.
Nakibara, your own?
Added 4.
They added 4. So our relation is we added 4. I hope it is okay with the other people that side. Eh?
Yes.
Okay. Let me draw another one here.
How
Somebody
do
took us
you
into things of
write
domain and range. He's taking us in Uganda these days tugamba atutwala speed. But we shall reach there. So I'm giving you another arrow diagram here. Please, your side, you should also one day try to do this. It is a skill because the world is going this way. And how can an Abisunsa girl not be able to do this? If the villager Kakaire is doing it, eh? Ah. So the villager Kakaire is using it to learn. So one day you should also use it. Okay. So let us call this one the set P being related to set Q. So you draw it your side and share with us what you think the relationship is.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, please. This is it.
Amina.
Yes, I mean.
Teacher, something came up. I was called and I had to go do, like, I was called to do something, but now
No
I'm
problem.
done.
No
I got
problem.
the first one, but then the next one that you drew, the one where the arrow matches to 5, what's the relation there?
The relation in this, you realize that in all the elements in set A, we are adding a 4 to get the elements in set B. Because 1 plus 4 is 5. 3 plus 4 is 7. 6 plus 4 is 10. 9 plus 4 is 13. So the relation here is that we are adding a 4.
Thank you, teacher.
Welcome. Zoe?
Teacher, for me, I think that the
Yes, Zoe?
relationship is that the ones in set P are being multiplied by 4, then 2 is added to the result.
Yeah, so it is, you multiply it by 4, add it 2. Zoe, let us test your submission. 1 times, so according to Zoe, is saying times 4, isn't it, Zoe? And then a plus 2, eh? Okay, let us test. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 2, 6, okay? 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2, 14, wonderful. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 2, 26. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 2, 34. Zoe, how were you able to see that? Are you a magician? Zoe? Okay. Do the others recognize the same relation?
Yeah.
Okay, you do, eh?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't want to take you through a lot because I think these are things we can get fast. Hmm? Although not too fast. Eh? Now, the next thing we are going to look at, we have now looked at the relations, and if it's okay now, I'm just going to give you one question to try. This one is going away. I'm going to share my old screen, and I'm going to give you the question now. So the examples are down. Now we are on a question, and my question says, if Angela, Robert, and Philip, Angela and Philip, I hope the spelling of Angela is that, are children of Twinomugishe. Twinomugishe. Yes. So if they are children of Twinomugisha and sorry, and Edward,
Teacher,
yes,
even you have not left a space after Philip and R.
pardon, Philip and you know, when I place my space bar, it's not giving me. Okay, thank you. Then we have now Edward, Andrew, and Alice, Alice. How do they say? Children. Okay. Children of Apio. Children, not children, eh? Okay. Represent the information. I don't know why my space bar is hard. Represent the information on any error diagram. So when you finish drawing your arrow diagram, you will put on your video and show it to us. We shall all be able to see it. I will pin you. Actually, I think you're allowed to share. I will allow you to share, then later you stop to share. So we take like some 2 minutes. Good girls.
Thank you, teacher. Okay.
Let me give one. Sorry. Mary Rose Ningara. I'm stopping to share so that you can share yours. I've stopped to share. So you pin yourself and share.
Teacher, how do I do that?
Oh, okay. What are you using? A phone, a camera?
Camera.
My question is stupid. Are you using a phone or a laptop?
Laptop.
Laptop. I don't know whether. Let me test with mine. If I do this, are you able to see what I'm trying to show?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does that illustrate what I want you to do?
Yep.
Okay. So I think I'm just gonna do that.
Do that. So I'm going to pin you. I'm making you a co-host. So now, now you are a co-host. Try to share. You had to share a screen so that you can. Okay, is everybody able to see Mary Rose's work?
Yeah, we are able.
You have seen it, eh?
Somehow.
Not
No. No.
Everybody should concentrate on Mary Rose.
I don't know how to do this.
okay.
Can see.
Yes.
But me can.
It's not
We
it.
can't.
You
We
can.
can't even sing anything.
Yes, we
Mary?
can.
Mary Rose.
Don't you?
Mary Rose, eh? You
Yes.
pin yourself. You pin yourself.
Yes.
You pin yourself. Like pin. Okay, let me pin you.
I don't. Yes, please do.
You pin yourself. Now you are on. Sure. Now you show. You show your work. Have people
I don't know
seen
if
what
you
he
can
has done?
see it.
Yes.
No.
Mary Rose, you try to be still so that we can see.
No.
Try to be still. In one position. I can see Angela is going to Trino, Robert is going to Trino, Philip to Trino, then Edward is going to Apio.
So we are not seeing.
I'm
Sing.
seeing.
Dirty
Carol
people
is even tired of showing.
We are seeing people's
You mute.
names.
If you talk, your name come.
We are seeing people's names. Let them mute.
No, guys, you go for Mary Rose's.
Mute.
You go for Mary Rose's thingy and tap on her.
Wonderful. You have guided us further. Because me, I can see her work here. You do that. I can see Edward to Apio. I see Andrew to Apio.
And now sing.
You are now seeing it. Wonderful.
Nancy,
So-
Mary Rose, be still.
I'm being still.
And thank you, girl, for being kind and patient. Eh? So, Mary Rose, what you're going to add in your work, the relation according to your arrow is children. Eh? I'm okay with you saying the
you
first
guys
set
finished?
is children, the second set is parents. I want you to put the relation here is children. That these are children of these. Eh? That's the relationship you're trying to show. So in between, in between the two sets, you're going to write children to show the relation. Mary Rose, did you get me?
Shami, I've not even got you.
This is the.
Shall we have?
Oh, who has got me?
Teacher, we have.
Rihanna, you have got me and you re-explain. Okay. Rihanna, okay. So now we have Rihanna on. Rihanna, you have pinned yourself. Okay. I want to thank all of you, but in a special way, the patience of Mary Rose. Thank you for being a patient woman. Oh, you are still a girl. Thank you for being a patient girl, a patient student, and the others for being patient with her. Her work is okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now I can withdraw your co-host. So I can pin myself back. So we are there. So let me give you another question to try.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, please.
Teacher, like what if, like instead of naming the sets like letters like A and B, you name them like the parents?
It's okay, you can do what Mary did.
No, like teacher, like in one set it has to have two children and then the other one parents.
Oh, for you drew two sets, eh?
Yes.
You drew two arrow diagrams, eh?
Yes.
That is okay, but the best way would be to merge those two illustrations into one, eh? So that you have one outlay of the children and one outlay for the parents. Because it is one relation, would be not good to break it down, eh?
Okay, teacher.
Okay. I hope people are fine for now.
Yes.
I won't take you a lot through arrow diagrams. At least now you have an idea of how we draw an arrow diagram. Now, somebody talked about domain. I want to take you through that. I want to take you through that step. The domain and the range of a relation. That is our next heading, girls. That's our next discussion. Hope you have written that heading. So
Yes,
if
teacher.
you all, yes please, yes please. Okay. If you all have memory of Mary's arrow diagram, you realize that the arrows were pointing from the children to the parents. Not so?
To the parents.
It
Yes,
was from
teacher.
children to the parents, eh? In math,
Yes.
in math we call the set where we are coming from, where the arrow is originating, eh? We call it the domain. And where we are throwing our relation, we call it the range. I can share with you this other. We had some arrow diagrams here. Oh, you see these three arrow diagrams here?
Yes.
So in the first arrow diagram, small a and small b, eh? Small a is the domain because that's where we are picking the primary elements to be related to the secondary elements. So B becomes the range. Okay? In the second arrow diagram, still capital A is the domain and capital B is the what? The range. In the third arrow diagram, P is the domain and the Q is the range. But we can change these relationships if we want. The moment you change the relationship, then the domain and the range will also change. For such an arrow diagram, we are saying P is domain and the Q is what? Is range. But what if I changed my relationship?
Teacher.
Yes, please?
Teacher, how do you know the domain and the range?
Okay. How do you know the domain and the range?
Excuse me, teacher.
The domain is okay, but sometimes they can get range. Yes, please. Let me listen to you before I answer the next person.
Teacher, now, according to my thinking, since the parents give birth to the children, shouldn't the parents be the domain?
Aha, that is a possibility. In Mary's arrow diagram, the relation was children. We were mapping children to their parents. Now, if you have your option, then the arrows should point from the parents to the children. So that the relation now becomes parents. And that's how the domain and range reverse themselves. Are you getting me clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so that's why I'm trying to show this relationship here. Let me do this one again. You see, this relationship here is showing from P to Q. And what we had was times 4 plus 2. Eh? Now I want to change the direction of the arrows. The change of the direction of the arrows will change who is the domain and who is the range. The domain is where the arrow is coming from according to this direction here. And the range is where we are throwing the relation. I hope people have got me there. So I want to delete this and bring my let me put another arrow. Oh, no. Now I'm changing the arrow, eh? You see now the arrow is facing that side, eh? Clear. So I have changed the direction of the arrows. The other time they were coming from P to Q. So P was domain, Q was range. Now they are coming from Q to P. Now their names have changed. Now it is Q which is the domain and it is P which is the range. Take it. So from the domain, in math, in the domain is where we find what we call objects. And in the range is where we find images. Like when you look in the mirror, you are the object, the other one is the image. So you have mapped yourself on the what? On the other image. Yes, Ayebali.
Teacher, that place where you put times 4 plus 2, if the way you have exchanged the arrows, can't you also use the equation of
this relationship is
divide
going
by
to change. This relationship is now going to change to what?
Divide by 4 minus 2.
Now, when we are reversing, thank you for your submission actually. It is now helping me to build on. When we are reversing the relationship, you reverse the operation from the last operation that existed in the previous relation. Our relation was times 4 plus 2. There are two relations there. The first one is a times 2. The last one is a plus 2. So you start by reversing the last one, the plus 2. Remember, the reverse of a plus is a minus. Is it true? Yes. And the reverse of a times is a division. So the reversal should be minus 2 divided by 4. Have I communicated to you, young woman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So our relationship here will be minus 2 divided by 4. Okay, I hope the others are fine. Now each of you must be able to tell a domain and you must be able to tell a range. Okay, I'm not going to save this whatever. I'm just going to, I hope people are fine. I'm just going to remove it. We no longer need it. So now I can come back here. I'm not writing those definitions. Oh, sorry. I have to share it first. I'm not writing those definitions because I have explained and I think each of you have got the meaning. In math, we don't write definitions. What we need is to understand what we are dealing with. So I've talked about other things, namely object and image. I said object are the elements you find in the domain. Image are the elements you find in the range. Girls, are we fine?
Yes, teacher.
Pardon.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, it is somebody saying pardon. We are saying object are the elements we find in the domain. Image are the elements we find in the range. Okay, so let me come down here and we try to have an illustration. The relation is, let me put it in columns, sorry. The relation is add 3. Just let me take a simple one. Find its range if the domain is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just using random values. So the objects here are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are objects. So I want you to take your time, I think like 2 minutes, and you find for me the objects in the image, actually the image, eh? So each one has an image. So I want you to give me the range. Whoever will be through, you can put up your hand and you share with us what you have as the images, because the images constitute the range. Yeah? Thank you. Shahida, your hand is up.
5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Shahida, slow. 5,
6,
6,
6,
yes,
7,
7, 8,
and 9.
and 9. Thank
9.
you, Shahida. Thank you so much. Shahida, thank you. I think the others are comfortable.
Yes.
Okay. So I want you also to try and draw the arrow diagram. It is an art. We are trying to build something. So just draw an arrow diagram that side. Later we shall refer to them. Okay. Let me give another relation. The relation is square. So we are also going to find the range for the domain. For the domain -2, -4, 0, 4, 2. Let me stop there. So somebody is going to share with us their range. Shahida banaye ka speed otutwala speed kale ituwe answer. Thank you for being a good girl. Give us the answer, Shahida.
4,
4,
16,
16,
0,
0,
16,
16,
4.
4. Okay. Let me give time to the others who have not yet done to reconcile. But I hope that's what we get.
Yes.
Okay. Now, There are concerns here. Mina Joy, Wanji.
Excuse me, teacher. I don't
Yes,
understand.
Mina, your voice is low. Sikulira.
Teacher, I don't understand the last number. The relation is square.
The relation which is saying square, eh?
Yes.
Okay, Mina. Mina, with our domain as minus 2 minus 4 0 got to, when you square minus 2 Mina, you get minus 2 times minus 2 equals to 4. Mina, is it true?
You mute.
Please, you others mute so that I can talk to Mina. I only want Mina's mic to be open. Others mute, please. Okay. I hope I have only Mina. Mina, are you there?
Yes.
But you're so low. Will you try to increase on your volume? You're so low. Okay, so do you agree with the square of minus 2 being 4?
Yes.
There are too many echoes. Eh?
Gift mute.
Gift mute.
Gift mute.
Okay, now I've muted all of you. Mina, you come back.
Teacher, I get now. Thank you.
Everything's fine. Okay.
Yes.
Now, the question is, hey, Yolanda. Yes, Yolanda?
Teacher, I was asking, how did she get 4?
I don't know whether it's my volume this side, but Yolanda, you're so low.
Teacher?
Yes, Yolanda.
I don't know how she got 4, 16, and the rest.
Hey, she squared minus 2 because the relation is square, eh? She squared minus 2, got 4. Squared minus 4, got 16. Squared 0, got 0. Squared 4, got 16. Squared 2, got 4. Yolanda, are you okay?
Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Stacy?
Teacher, when I square -2, I get -4.
Now, Mina. Sorry. Stacy. The square of
It is a
-2 is -2 times -2. Now, when you multiply two negatives, you can't end up with a negative. Not so, Stacy.
Yes.
I think you're using a calculator and you're asking it, you are typing in -2 squared. The best would be open a bracket, put your -2, close the bracket, then square.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Welcome, Stacy. So let me give another question. Let me just copy this. This time the relation is multiply by 3 subtract 2. So we want to find a range for the domain of 2 4 7 9. I will stop here. I will come back to this example. I had something to discuss, but let me first build this. I don't want to distort my outflow. So I'm waiting for the range for that domain. Kirabo? Deborah? Kirabo, Deborah, your hand is up. I've picked you. Oh, I can't hear you. You're so soft, I can't hear you, Chirabo. I can't hear you. Maybe you work on your audio, then you'll come back to me. Let me talk to Cleopatra. Cleopatra, the first one is? Is it at my end?
The first one is 8.
The first one is 8. No. Cross check. Kagoya, give me the first image.
The first one.
Yeah, you're right. Kagoya, the first image is 4.
4.
Good. Thank you. Nachitende Mina, the second image is
10.
10. Good. When you submit, you mute, so that I can share with another person. Moiti.
19.
19. And lastly, there are many hands now.
25.
Siraj.
25.
25.
Okay, thank you.
25.
Thank you. Thank you for being good girls. We can now put down our hands.
Okay, is it a must to draw them?
To draw the arrow diagram?
Yes, teacher.
No, unless they have asked you to.
Thanks.
Welcome. Hannah, your hand is still up. You have something you want to submit? Oh,
So
now
I was giving the answer.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, so we still have some good time and you have been good girls. I think we are moving on smoothly. Good. My other question is, the relation is add to. You see how body mass is useful. Here, body mass may not be useful, Add to, multiply by 5. Find the range on the domain. Why does teacher only want this? -4. Let this one be -3, and this one let it be let me be 10. Kale, give me the range. Why am I only giving 4? Are they only supposed to be 4? No girl is asking me, teacher, are they only supposed to be 4?
It's okay.
Let me give 5. Okay. Hey, Huda, you are giving me the first image. Huda.
Yes.
The first image is what?
15.
15. Wonderful. Peruth, the second image is?
-10.
-10? No. Cross check. Remember, you have -4 times 2 first, to give you -8. Huda? Huda do say?
Is a +2.
-40.
-40. Negative 40 is the right answer. Perth, you're back to give me the third.
Teacher, how is it negative 40?
No, teacher, it's negative 10 because we are adding 2.
Teacher, when you said negative,
when you say negative 4, negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Hey, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, so negative 10 we agree. Perth? Okay, Abasa?
Negative 5.
Negative 5, yeah, it's true. Nankabirwa, Kirose. Nankabirwa.
60.
60 Nankabirwa. And lastly from okay, Mina.
Teacher, I have a question.
Eh?
I have a question.
You have a question? Okay, ask.
Teacher, how did you get 15?
15?
Yes.
1 plus 2 is 3. 3 times 5 gives you 15. Is it true?
Yes. Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Sibia. Sibia?
Negative.
Negative what?
Negative 20.
Negative 20. Thank you, Sibia. We can now put all our hands down. I think we are all okay.
Excuse me, teacher.
This is from?
Hannah.
Yes, Hannah.
I have a question. Teacher, the relation, is it supposed to be followed simultaneously? Like, some of us, like, we first say 1 time. What if we first say 1 times 5 then plus 2?
There you have changed the relation. There you have changed the relation. The relation is saying add the 2 multiplied by 5. So you follow the chronological order. Don't
so
reverse
it's a must to start from where it's beginning from.
Wonderful. Yes, you move with it.
Okay.
That's why I said it differs with body mass. You don't follow body mass because there is a times and a plus, and the body mass says multiplication first. No.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, Hannah. Isn't that enough? So now I want to explain something before we go on. In all what we are doing, we are finding range, but we can find domain. But I want you to look at this range here. Let me highlight it and give it okay, let me give it any color, eh? Not people power. Do you realize that there are elements that are repeating? That wouldn't look good.
Yes.
That wouldn't look good to repeat elements in a set. If it is a sample, then it will be okay. That's what you're doing. So the best would be to have 416 is 0. Because even on your arrow diagram, negative 2 will go to the same value as 2. And if negative 4 will go to the same value as 4. So desist is I don't know whether it's the right English word, eh? Tokkiriza kuddamu wandiika element mu image nga because we are Uganda, not Buganda. You don't rewrite, you don't repeat the image in the range. I hope you got me there. Now I want us to try to get domain if the image is availed to you. You remember? Yes, Sibia.
Teacher, you said we don't repeat the image on the domain.
In the range.
In the range. So we have to first we have first value the image. I really don't get that part.
Let me do this. Maybe you'll be able to get me. Do you see what we have now?
Yeah.
Because 4 is an image to both -2 and 2. This 4 here is both an image to -2 and 2. And 16 is both an image to -4 and 4. Are you getting now the picture that I want you to?
Yeah, teacher.
Oh. Nyakamatura, your hand is up. Yes, Nyakamatura. Okay, maybe it was by
To get the domain, we'll just find the square root of the range.
So I want to give you a question down here that will take us there. So the relation is going to be, let me start with the not simplest one, but it's going to be sub. Yes, Stacy, you have a question. I'm listening.
Yes, teacher. Like when we find the range and there are two, like the two images are the same, we are only supposed to write one.
Yes, please. You write once.
Okay.
Teacher, what about like when you're drawing the arrow diagram?
Even the arrow diagram, you won't repeat it. You'll have. Do you remember the arrow diagram for Mr. Twino Mugisha and the Appeal? When many children were going on to one person,
Yes.
many arrows, you'll have something of that kind.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Yes, Aliyah.
Yeah. What if they ask for the inverse of the relation?
What if they ask for the
inverse of the relation?
That's what we are exactly doing in the current example. That's what we are doing. But I remember I gave you an idea that for inverse, you're simply reversing the relationship and you have to start from the end of the relationship. Aliyah, let me use this. You see this relation here is add 3. The inverse is subtract 3 because it is just one operation. This one is square. The inverse will be square root. This one is multiplied by 3, subtract 2. There are 2 operations. Start from the end.
That will be divided by 3.
You say add 2, divide by 3.
Okay.
Achitegedde.
Yes.
Then for this one, they are saying add 2, multiply by 5. So the reverse or the inverse is divide by 5, subtract 2. Achitegedde. And that's the idea you're using here. Because the relation is subtract 5. Find the domain for the range, that one. So what is going to be our domain? So here you are using that idea of inverse. But I have not written the word inverse yet. For a reason. Because I want to build this exposure before we can go into that business. First one is -6. Okay. I have a student here who is saying the first one is -6. Do you
Yes,
agree?
teacher.
Is it -6?
No,
Remember,
it's
this
four.
relation is taking us
No,
to the main
it's
range.
It's
Eh?
four.
It is 4.
Four, yeah.
Because we are reversing subtraction to what? To
the
add, to
next
move us
one.
from range to what? To the main.
To addition.
Yes. I hope everybody is okay now.
Yes.
Yes. Wonderful.
The next
So what's
one.
the next object?
9.
Next object is 9. Okay.
9.
Wonderful. The next object?
8.
Great.
8.
Yes.
8.
And the?
Negative
5.
Negative 5.
Wonderful. Lastly?
18.
12.
12. 12.
Victoria, your hand is up. Hey, thank you, Victoria.
Teacher, me, I'm not okay. My internet went off. Me, teacher.
Yes, Victoria.
Haven't got it,
Teacher, my internet went off.
It's
I've
okay.
not
I'm going to
understood.
explain. So we
Teacher,
are
how
saying,
did you get?
Okay.
how they get those ones? You see, the relation is saying a relation takes you from the domain to the range. Yeah? So it is saying subtract 5. So if you're moving from the domain to the range, you subtract 5. But now we are moving from the range back to the domain. So you reverse this relation. You reverse the operation. Since it is a subtraction, the one which will move us from the range to the domain will be add. Are you okay? Let me write it here. Because
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
the relation that maps range onto domain is add 5. I hope the explanation is already there, clear and written.
Yes.
Okay. So I want us to end here. Today we looked at a relation. We looked at how to draw an arrow diagram. We looked at how to identify a domain and a range.
Excuse me, teacher.
We looked at object and image. Yes, please. This is who?
Teacher, how will the arrow diagram look like?
For which particular example? I haven't numbered them.
For the last one.
For the last one. Of
Yes.
course, this domain here will come first. You draw it first. Then you draw the range next, so that the arrows can move from here to there.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Or if you draw the range first, and then the domain next, the arrows must now move this side. So you make sure your arrows are moving from range to domain. Whether the range came first or next.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. So girls, see you next time.
Thank you, teacher, for teaching.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher, for teaching.
Bye.
Welcome. Bye.
Teacher, thank you for teaching us.
Thank you for teaching.
Guys, go watch.
Have a nice weekend.
Likewise.
Bye bye.
Your public holiday.
Bye.
Big public holiday for prayers.
Oui.